All right, Orion Bar, thank you so much for that contribution. Going now to the future of robotics, led by Manik Bhatia from Coresight Research in New York. And we have a discussion with Hagai Balshai, CEO of RobotiCan, and Ilan Cohen, CEO of Caja Robotics. Take it away.
Thank you, Benny. Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining our session today on robotics and automation. We have with us Hagai Balshai, who is the CEO at RobotiCan, a company that aims to lead in the field of autonomous robots, and also by Ilan Cohen, who is the CEO at Caja Robotics, a company that enables warehouse automation for faster order fulfillment. The agenda of this session is to discuss the adoption of autonomous technologies in retail, and looking forward to adoption of autonomous technologies and how retailers are already benefiting from these technologies. Now, without much ado, I would hand it over to Ilan Cohen, who would take us through the presentation on Caja Robotics.
Hi, my name is Ilan Cohen. I'm the CEO of Caja Robotics. My background, all my life, I was in robotics, industrial robotics, automation. My study, I finished engineer, mechanical and electrical and software engineer, and my PhD was in artificial intelligence. At that time was not so popular, but now it became popular. I joined Caja because I think that today the market and is something that happens, I think, every 10 to 20 years, where you have a market that is booming, exponential, where you have the customer needs is increasing remarkable. I never thought that something that is increasing every day like that before the COVID, and now even after the COVID much more. And also technology. I see now the trend, not only at Caja, but the trend of the technology that use really the more sophisticated state-of-the-art technology in order to fulfill the requirement of automation in general. In particularly in my field is in warehouse, automatic warehouse.
Here. Go.
And also by Ilan Cohen, who is the CEO at Caja Robotics, a company that enables warehouse automation for faster order fulfillment. Now, without much ado, I would like to hand it over to Ilan Cohen, who would take us through the presentation on Caja Robotics.
Hi, my name is Ilan Cohen. I'm really pleased to be in this call. My background, I'm engineering in several fields, electronics, software. And all my life, I was working in automation, in robotics, and now I'm really pleased to join Caja. I did my PhD in artificial intelligence that was at that time not so popular, and today is something that people like. I will tell you that something happened in the world, and for that I joined Caja. Everything that's going to automation, and especially in the warehouse and automation in general, is something happen every 10 to 20 years. As you see that you don't have it every time that something is booming. You have the market is booming, you have the customer needs is booming, and you have the technology. This technology, especially in the warehouse automation, is really using state-of-the-art technology in the world, such as artificial intelligence, deep learning, a lot of algorithm, a lot of optimization. And I will show later on that we also enter a new era that today a lot of people speak about manufacturing 4.0, and today people will speak about warehouse 4.0, because this is the trend in the future to see where we're going with this automation in warehouse in general. And I'm really pleased to find that every 10 or 20 years, we can really reach this kind of opportunity in the life that we can hopefully do something and present a solution that can maybe do evolution or even a revolution in the world. And today, the needs before COVID and after COVID of automation in warehouse is more and more demanding for a lot of reasons, not only because of the automation, not only because of the trend of Amazon, not only because of 1 hour delivery, but also for the worker. the worker and the way that the worker is working today in this kind of environmental is not so easy. And I believe that the solution in general in automation is a need, is a must even. And as any evolution and revolution in technology, it will help a lot also the human being to work in a much better environment. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ilan. That was very informative. And I have a few questions, but I think I'll get back to those in a bit. And before that, if Hagai could present about RobotiCan, it would be great.
Okay, thank you very much. So RobotiCan was founded 2013. We are a group of specialized in the field of robotics. Of course, we don't have the experience and the time that Ilan have, but we try to do our best and so far work in the field. I'm coming from a mechanical engineer. I have a second degree in mechanical engineer and also a second degree in business, basically. And we founded RobotiCan in the idea that we want robotics not just to be something in the academic world and not something just as a fun or a toy or something like that, as actual solution and not just a gimmick or something like that. And in this state of mind, we worked for several years with the industry, Israeli industry mainly, and also with basically the more security field, the Israeli Defense Force and all kind of homeland security agencies, trying to establish robotic solution and basically autonomous solutions inside those fields. We did several projects. Among them, we also worked with Caja Robotics, and I know them for a long time. We were in the early stages of Caja Robotics working together, trying to establish their amazing warehouse solution. And in another fields that we're working, I'll try to take you to a short clip that we made for you. And I'm just playing it. So this is another solution in the field of retail. Basically, we made autonomous robot for scanning the shelves in a supermarket. And by that, again, we always talk about labor work and the price of being able to maintain such a large environment. And also robotics comes in the field of basically making the human do the best of they can. Nobody wants to keep on doing boring and continuous jobs. So using autonomous robotics abilities, we are giving this also as an opportunity for the man to fulfill his actual abilities and tasks. So by that, we're seeing a lot of synergy and working also in those kind of environment with robotics ability. And again, this is booming now, as Ilan mentioned before. Of course, with the COVID-19, we're seeing less personality, or people want to come to it's not that they don't want to come to work, but basically they cannot come to work. And we need other solution to be enabled to fulfill instead of them. And again, people just want to keep on advancing in life and doing stuff that they are more enthusiastic for them. And robotics can actually be in this gap. So we've seen the synergy, and hopefully we'll continue to see the growth and the working together between this machine, incredible robotics platforms, to humans in the coming, in the next couple of years. So that's basically RobotiCan. And
thank you, Hagai. That is very interesting. And this morning I was reading something very similar about shelf scanning robots. I think that was one by Badger Technologies. So that's something similar, and I'm really enthralled because I wasn't aware that RobotiCan had something in the shelf scanning space as well. I was only thinking in the aspect of drones. So this is something very interesting. I have a two-pronged question for you. The first one is, how did you make a switch, and what led you to make a switch from defense to retail? That's very different. And secondly, there's a lot of news that has recently come up about drone deliveries. So Walmart has partnered with Israeli drone startup Flytrex, and they're piloting their drone deliveries. And we have Walgreens testing their drone deliveries, Amazon and Tesco. So what do you think is the future of drone deliveries? Because that is something that is completely unmanned. So is it something that could be successful in the future?
So first of all, you had two questions, and I'll try to answer them both real quick. So about using drones for future delivery, it's basically not the future anymore. It's the common days. Everybody, it's not that everybody use, but there is a lot of going on in this field of using drones for delivery. So by saying that, this is not, I hope it will be not the future, and it will starting to be the present. The thing with the drones delivery, that it's becoming a really big hype, but there is some gaps that still needs to be refrained and be done. We call it the 4 R's. So first of all, you need reliability of the drone and the platform, so it won't drop out of the sky or drop something from the sky. Second of all, you need regulation, which is starting to kick off because of the COVID-19. We're seeing an actual need for that, and nobody's out there. So there is a gap that you can use the regulation to actually penetrate to the market. So this is also something that was booming up with, or I don't know, using the COVID-19. Something good happened there. The third R is basically the range of drones, which is not that big today. So for last mile delivery kind of concept or something in the city, of course, drones can do a terrific job. But if you are looking, and again, we are talking in a COVID-19 period, if you're looking for flying some samples from one hospital to another, the range can be a little bit less of what you will expect it. So it's still a problematic thing, the range of the drone and the ability of the battery's life or something like that in this field. And the last and not least, but basically a reasonable price. So far, because of the hype and because everybody likes drones, we buy commercial off-the-shelf drones, which was supposed to be for selfies and photographs and stuff like that, and we are using them for something aerial, industrial work, and it's not that right. So in the future, in the near future, we will need to see that there is a reasonable price for using drones as a service for delivery. You were asking us something else about how my company doing kind of jingling between the commercial or more industrial abilities and the military or more defense. So basically it goes together because the technology is the same, and Ilan can probably tell you much more about it, but the state of mind of developing robotics is the same. It doesn't matter for whose application. The only thing with the military is that's what we call ROI, the return of investment is less budgeted or less strained as in the industry, because in the industry you go into Amazon, they'll charge you by the dime. You know, they need to see that everything, the ROI will be in some kind of spot. But when you are talking on security and defense and stuff like that, you can use robotics, and if the price is a little bit more expensive, okay, what's a little bit more expensive in the field of human lives? So it's easier to penetrate, and this is the only thing. So the idea and the agenda is the same, using the technology for helping us. So I took a lot of your time, but I hope I answered the questions.
Yes, those were amazing answers, and I look forward to receiving my next order through a drone. So thank you, Hagai. And you raised a point about last mile delivery, and that is something that is taking me back to Ilan right now. So Ilan, I have a question for you. Right now, retailers are struggling with the last mile delivery costs, and there's a lot of buzz around warehouse automation and micro fulfillment centers. So what do you think is the role of micro fulfillment centers in reducing the last mile delivery cost and enabling retailers for faster fulfillment?
Okay, Thank you, and I will try to answer the question. And a lot of things happen now, and the micro-fulfillment is one of the pillars that you see among automation. Now, why is automation? I think is first of all, you have the Amazon effect. The Amazon effect started in the 2012, and they bought Caja, and everybody were looking about Amazon as pioneer. But the real reason that Amazon did is really for the worker. The number of workers is increasing every year. Only that even after COVID, the need now of workers only in the United States is more than 1 million people more, only in the automatic warehouse. That means it's huge number, and you cannot find it. And also the way of working on this environmental is not nice. They're running 15 miles per day. They're taking heavy boxes and everything. That means the effect of automation start with Amazon is increasing every day. The second effect is really the 1 day delivery, 1 hour delivery, everything, and people want to go more and more close to the big city. The big city is more demanding of warehouse, but the warehouse are much more smaller. The warehouse is much more expensive, and you need to find really a balance between automation, people, how to bring everything, and also the demand of without error, because that is a big factor. You don't need to do error, because error is about 6% of the manual picking. That means you need to combine a lot of equation and a lot of solution in order to answer the question. And the micro-fulfillment is really the last mile that we see the trend now. Even in grocery, you see it everywhere, and the COVID is really accelerate this need. Now, automation is something that people also, you don't see not only the big enterprise, you don't see DHL, DSV, or FedEx that want this automation, because that they are working on that for the last years. They have people dedicated for automation, that what they call innovation center, 40, 50 people working to find what is the next automation for this big enterprise. But we speak also about small and medium enterprise. They see the need of automation because it's painful for them in day-to-day, also because they're competing against the giant. They need a solution. And automation is something that enter, but you need to see what's happening in their mind. They want a solution that is fast. They want a solution that is flexible. They want to start in a small corner and to do scalable. They want something they don't want to change the warehouse. And that is a big I think, turner in the technology today, because all the nice solutions are based on very sophisticated mechanics. You need to build a new warehouse. You need to build a nice place, a very nice floor. But people don't want it. They want to go to an existing warehouse and to put the robots and to see, now let's go and it's working. That means you need flexibility, you need scalability, you need adaptivity. You don't need a lot of change in the warehouse. And that pushed the technology to be extremely sophisticated. And for example, our solution is in the cloud. Our cloud is the master. The robot, sorry to say, are a little bit stupid. They don't know each other. Everything is managed by the cloud. The traffic management is in the cloud. The inventory management in the cloud. We do a lot of optimization in order that the boxes is moving all the time in the warehouse in order to bring the box as fast as possible to the picking station in order to take the goods without error at the same time. You need to do consolidation, because when you have two boxes half empty, you need to combine them all the time together. You need to do cycle count. All that is the micro-fulfillment needs, and you need to go with automation. Now, automation, you have two kinds of automation. One, I call it stiff, the classical way, and one is mobility. Today, in the future, we go to robot mobility, no doubt about it, if I may say that. I hope I'm objective. And you see that mobility is a need, and you need robots that can enter, like pick and place. You can put them, and they are working in order to help you as in a very small warehouse that is also in gallery, mezzanine. That means you have a lot of needs, and the sophistication of the solution is much more pronounced here, because it's not easy. How to put number of robots in 400 square meters? How you do that? And you need to have 500 order line per day, or and you have a lot of compromise to do, and the sophistication of the algorithm and the brain in the cloud can do that. As I say before, I really believe that warehouse 4.0 is the future, and we will see it also in the micro-fulfillment. I hope that I answer your question.
Thank you, Ilan. That was very detailed and informative at the same time. Thanks very much. And I could get one point from this, and I think that raises one question for Hagai. So when there will be Warehouse 4.0, I think the future would be cobots, and humans have to work in tandem with robots. It can't be only autonomous technologies. It has to be robots plus human interference. So Hagai, what is your take on this? Could it be all automation, or do you think human intervention would still be required 3 or 4 years down the line?
That's a terrific question, because my belief is leave it to robots, they will handle themselves quite good. If you are interfering in the middle, then the problem's secure. And you can see it in every aspect. Basically, for example, what Ilan is just saying, when you decided to put in robotics to a warehouse, if you leave it to robotics, they will solve it quite easily. But when you ask them to be inside already existing facility and working also with people, because nobody actually believes that robotics will solve the problem, then the problem's secure and you can take it to whatever you want. For example, we were 2020, we thought that we will have self-driving cars easily by now, right? But it doesn't work. Why it doesn't work? It doesn't work because of us. We want to stay on the road. We want to keep on driving. And we basically kind of hold down the technology from being blessed up. And we see it everywhere. And also with cobots. Cobots are great, and it's an amazing technology. But because of the simplicity and the complexity of working among people, that's what's hold the technology down. And if you'll give only the cobot basically to work without the human being interfering in the way, it will work quite easier and much more fast. So this is basically kind of a debate that always been around, because we have a lot of abilities as human beings, and we can understand and catch the environment and understand stuff that for robotics algorithm and AI, as Ilan said, and deep and whatever you want to use, will take a long years now. And we are as humans, every common person that you'll take into a warehouse, we learned how to do the trick to bring a box quite easily. So there is always the gap, because you want people to keep on working because they are doing terrific job, but you want robotics and automation because the people are interfering the actual other stuff. So it's always in and I'm not sure that I'm capable of solving this discussion. We'll keep on working. We'll try to push robotics into it as much as possible, and probably put some gaps between them, because it's much easier to keep on rolling without the intervention of humans in the line. So I'm not sure that I answered your questions, but it's a really tough and really, I don't know, in kind of a debate questions coming up every time with robotics.
But that's a great answer. I think I haven't heard an answer like that before, because that's a very interesting point of view, that humans are the problem. Let robots do their job and they'll do the trick. So that's something very interesting. And thank you, Hagai, for such insightful answer. And we could go on, but I think we need to be respectful of time for others. And I think we can conclude this session here. Thank you, Hagai. Thank you, Ilan, for your time and for your wonderful insights on this session. My concluding remarks. Sorry, go ahead.
I think it's important what Hagai say. I think, if I may intervene, I think really the debate about cobot and putting human and robot is really, I like the question, and I like also Hagai answer. I think it's really, people don't, you want to be in the trend and you say, yes, cobot is the future, and yes, it's the best way to do it. But I want to reinforce what Hagai said, if I may. I think it's important to know. Robots, if you want efficiency, if you want ROI extremely high, and also if you want to limit the interaction and to really push the technology, you need to separate. However, I see that the cobot, you have a lot of application with cobot in the medical technology, and a lot of other technologies is fantastic. But when we speak about logistics, I think you need to see how to separate when the people need to be or when the robot team need to be. Of course, you need to have some interaction, but the minimum is the better. I'm sorry to intervene, but I think it was important because Hagai had I think I think a very positive way against the trend, but I think he's right. And then I want only to reinforce it. And thank you for your time. Sorry about my interruption.
You added a great point. Thank you so much, Ilan. Thank you, Hagai. And with this, we can conclude our session on robotics and automation. Robotics clearly is the future. According to International Federation of Robotics, the industrial robots are set to grow at a CAGR of 12% from 465,000 in 2019 to 584,000 in 2022. That's a figure that speaks for itself. Back to you.